Democratic governments are run by the leaders with the lowest approval rating. Capitalistic countries survive only by creating more debt. Tolerance of national values is being labeled as intolerant. Defending your family, your loved ones, or the vulnerable ones is criminalized. Banks create funny money out of the thin air so they can lend to you and the government, so then they can charge you interest on it. Decency is mocked as perversion. Free speech and thinking is seen as a dangerous weapon. And family values are labeled as extremism. I think everybody agrees that wherever we look, it seems like we're living in the inverted reality. What's white is black, up is down. Is this just a new thing? Is this just a recent thing, or we've sort of not even created, but allowed it to evolve our reality to become this ugly monster? Or is this something we never seen because it was well hidden from us, and maybe just social media exposed all the insanity and you just can't hide anymore? See, it feels like there is no hope, but I think it's actually the opposite. Regardless of the reason of who is behind it or any conspiracy theory, and I'm gonna give you my ideas, I think I'm optimistic because there's no more hiding. It's all out there in plain sight. Everybody can see it. And you can see the system, the government, the leadership is trying all they can. They're losing their minds to protect what they can, to make it, to penalize anyone who dare to see it, right? To try and divert our attention somewhere else. But it has been going on for so long, so much, and it's everywhere, and the intensity is unbearable. We can't pretend anymore. The government can't pretend, and this is a good news. How is it? I always think about this, and bear in mind, back in the day in Poland, I used to study political science, so I understand the theory, but I didn't finish that uni, right? I quit it to open a business. But I did study a couple of years, so I understand the theory, but I still question myself and the system. So how is it that democracy in today's world is a picture of governments being led by people with the lowest approvals ratings in the 20s or 30%, which basically explains why the majority of any country in the West, including, of course, the UK, is pissed off because we're being led by the people who are supported by 20-30% of the country. Therefore, the majority of people are not being correctly represented. It's even worse, we're being misrepresented. So the inversion, again, whatever the government with 20% approval does, whatever they do, it's almost always the opposite of what should be done. Think about this. It's what we see with the flags, how the government reacting to people, flying British flags in the UK, of political parties raising to power in the West, in European countries, is what we see in America with Donald Trump and him being, chosen by the people of American people. The system can't cope with that. Democracy doesn't look like this. You can't have the guy or lady being approved by minority telling the rest what to do and calling it democracy. But that's where we are. It's an absolute, it's an insanity. It's insane when you think about this. Then you move over to capitalism, which, by the way, I'm an entrepreneur, so I believe in free markets. I don't see money as evil. it's a tool, no different to hammer or something you can build or destroy. Like, I'm all for it, but I'm also, I think, open-minded enough, and I see how the grotesque capitalism, the system we have allowed to become. Like, you can't have a capitalism in a country which can survive only by borrowing more money, and that money is not even borrowed; it's created out of the thin air. It's like, it's literally, if people would understand across, majority of people understand how the economy works, the money works, they would not believe the insanity behind it. It's like you press the button, the money appears, then they lend it to government, and then they charge them interest. So we're going to have to go to work, pay taxes, do work, labor, time, whatever that takes of the real commitment to pay back real interest on imaginary money. That's not capitalism. That is something else. That's completely the opposite, the inversion of it. It's like debtism. Then you have in the tolerance. We are so progressive and tolerant, right? But we're so tolerant that we do not tolerate people being not tolerant as much. So if you, again, as a majority, do something which the tolerant leadership do not accept, they will label it as intolerant, right? So complete inversion of what the people want they are, as in our nature or if our need or in our culture, to being completely reversed and being told that it's not, you are absolutely intolerant because you do not tolerate us telling you not tolerant. Which I think, have you ever thought about all of these things? I know people can feel it's all crazy, right? But if you put it all into their small points and to look into what each one single point, it builds a picture of complete like lunacy, right? It's like mental asylum. We built around ourselves, or at least we allowed it to be built around ourselves, and we're just running around in chaos, hitting all the walls, like thinking, okay, that's wrong, but because we can't see the whole picture. Again, I keep saying it in my channel, because we can't stay focused, because we're constantly being distracted, not to be able to see about the things I'm just telling you. If you see one by one the way I'm going to explain to you, it's almost impossible to say, hey, it's all good, it's normal. It's not. Let's go to the next, which is a right to defend yourself, your families, vulnerable people, kids, women. It's now being criminalized. It's people being punished for defending themselves. Think about this. And the punishment comes from the people who are meant to be protecting all of us. Complete inversion. So the government with lowest approvals, the democratic, it's important to mention, that's the contradictions, right? The democratic government with the lowest approval, preventing people from protecting themselves, telling them they will be protected by the others, and the others are punishing them for trying to protect or not protecting others. How do you call it? It's, imagine this, 20 years ago, or when I was a kid, that kind of story for me would make no sense. It would be one of those stories when you just, it's like, say, this imaginary crazy place from story, and you would say, that's how, it's never going to be like this, right? But that's where we are. Like, we allowed ourselves to be put in this. When we now have a reality where wealth is a complete illusion, not only because the money is just worthless paper, in which people are told to believe that's the only value behind it, but because we have grown-up people flashing up their new toys on Instagram. You have grown-up men recording videos about buying yet another toy worth what other people make in 2, 3, 5, 10 years as a salary. We have women celebrating being sexualized. Mothers, right? Grandmothers. You see this, like, have you watched, I've seen the other day the concert of Madonna. Have you seen what's happening over there with her? It's a grotesque. And the thing is, like, majority of people can see it, would agree with what I'm saying. And again, it's this, everything is run by the tiny minority of kind of believing, I don't know if they're believing into all this nonsense, or they made themselves believe, but they're punishing everyone else for not being a cult member, of following the madness. Banks are printing money out of nowhere, as I explained. That is not wealth. You can't, we have national debt, which affects us and the future generations. We're being told there's not enough money to pay, I don't know, for electricity or heating for the people, for people, pensioners and people with less money. We're being told there might be no pensions, there might be no money to fix the potholes and fix the country, whatever. But at the same time, the governments are getting money from banks which create money out of nowhere. Okay, so it's okay to create this much amount of money out of nowhere, but if you want a little bit more to fix real problems, it's not okay, because we have no money. Again, inverted morality. Being a decent or just quiet, hardworking, down to earth person is being seen as being mocked. It's perversions now being celebrated. If you are an average person, hardworking, decent person, doing your best in life for you, for your family, you're not gonna go viral on internet. But if you are the same person doing some crazy stuff in front of camera, ideally going naked or something, and talking some absolute gibberish, or just being offensive, or just being rude, it's quite likely you're gonna get clicks and the money will follow. If you have wrong opinion, and God forbid you're gonna voice that opinion, you might get visit from people who are here to protect you, to remind you that saying it might get you in trouble. You will get hurt if you say what you think. Just yesterday, we've had Polish president as well as Nigel Farage in America at the same time. That was quite interesting. And it's very interesting when you think about this. And maybe I'll record another video because I have some thoughts about this. Let me know if you would want to. And then you have politicians in the UK screaming in the parliament, oh no, traitors, they want America to talk how bad it is here. Yes, because we can't talk how bad it is here being here. So somebody went elsewhere to talk. You see, I'm not saying about all these things because it's a doom and gloom, right? I'm saying because I'm tired, as everybody else, as you are, about pretending it's all great. And if you feel this way, I'd like to invite you to join my community, which is precisely open for that reason. You can find the link in the description. I want that place to be the place where we, people thinking that, can actually join together with a conversation with the problems and solutions, rather than pretending forever it's all great and reading countless useless headlines and articles. It's important to start somewhere, so I thought about opening a community as a good start. It's $10 a month to make sure there's only people who wants to be part of it, not the people who just like things, I don't know, being part of problems. We want to be part of the solution. So if it resonates with you, please join my community. I need more and more people like-minded, and so we can actually get a movement, get a momentum. But you can find a link down in the description. But you see, I'm not saying about all of this because it's so bad that we are doomed. We gonna have to embrace some more pain, but it's a sign of a system, crumbling system. It's what I would imagine as a kid, a Babylon or Sodom and Gomorrah would look like. And I knew stories as a kid, I remember those stories, and I was imagining those worlds exactly as we are now, as we are living in one, which is also funny on its own. We are living in a collapsing empire, in a collapsing world. So the natural question would be, why? And who is behind all of it? Because things don't go that far, that extreme on its own organically. And aside of all the conspiracy theories, which I'm sure there's lots of truth into many of those. Many conspiracy theories are being proven over and over, right? And I never, people normally, when they hear conspiracy theory, they're just like, oh, I'm always open to hear opinions and look into some things more. But apart from this, let's put it on side for a moment. Like, who is behind all of it? And my business experience would tell me it's fairly easy to spot. You're going to have to see who benefits from it, from the chaos, from the destruction. You see, the West, America, England, Europe, parts of, Australia, New Zealand, whatever, right? The part of the collectively called West, managed to build an amazing society, amazing civilization over the years, decades and centuries, and all now being dismantled very fast. But if you're paying attention, it's not happening equally across the whole planet. So if you are paying attention, if you look carefully onto where the balance is shifting, then this is a clue. It could be a clue of who is behind all of it. Now, you see, the problem we have, our leadership, willingly or not, it's not up to me to judge, I don't know these people, are deciding to follow that stupid game. They decided it's good to keep carry on with all this nonsense and building walls around ourselves for the mental asylum even higher. They decided it's okay to put more mentally unstable people together and just make them even more angry. But there are places across the planet which benefit from it, places which are getting better, places where you can actually even see they got better proportionally as to how bad it went in the West. So if we went down, let's say 50% in quality of life, which is more, there are places in the world where they went up proportionally 50% better in quality of life. As if I know anything about reality and how the life works, it's always balanced. So you can't have a whole planet being either out of balance, completely madhouse, or completely happy, right? There's always some ups and downs elsewhere. And this would be answer for a question for all of us thinking, where is this coming from? Can this be stopped? I think so. I think we got to the point where as I mentioned, it's got to so ridiculous now that we can't pretend anymore. Our political leaders can't pretend, and it will end soon. But before it ends, we're going to have to endure a little bit more discomfort, maybe some pain. I recorded a video about this some time ago, about the price of freedom, price of winning. Nothing is for free. We're going to have to pay our price for being stupid for long enough to allow ourselves to end up where we are now. But that's the way it is. So there's no point of just crying over the spilled milk. It is what it is. But it's not going to last for much longer, I think. The world eventually will gain back its stability or balance. I think the balance will be... The world was in balance for a long time. We have to say, we have to agree, even though as the West, we're growing, financially with wealth and everything, then the other part of the world was really in poverty. So it was not balanced back then. So we had to get to the point where it's crazy like it is now in order to restore the balance and maybe share some of this wealth and just restore the common sense, let's say this way. And it cannot be only kept on the one side of the world. It has to be kept equally across the whole country, whole world, in order to stay in balance. So I think before we can get there, we're going to have to get to the point where the current system is losing it, and it's not going to let it go without fight first. And that's what we're seeing now. That's why the governments, politicians, you're just losing it because they're just panicking. They don't know what to do. And if you corner wild animal, that's where it becomes the most dangerous. So that's where we are. But overall, as I said, it's a good sign. It's a sign of change. It's on the horizon. Everybody can feel it. You can't pretend anymore. Nobody can. I think the most important part we can do for ourselves is to stick together, stay calm, stay positive, keep smiling, do your best, provide for your family, for your friends, for your loved ones. Just don't get yourself drawn into this conflict and the mental asylum situation where you're just surrounded by insanity, and you think you're the one who lost common sense. It's not. You're the one who has still common sense, where the others are losing it, and they will suffer most. People who's got the understanding of what's going on, I think will come out fairly okay. Again, this is why I have my community, so please join. I'm inviting you, be my guest, help me building up. Yeah, I'll leave it over here. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? I think everybody agrees, right? It's hard not to. But yeah, thanks so much for your time. If you like this video, leave me a like, please. Consider subscribing to my channel. If you're not subscribing yet, join my community if you're not a member yet. And I'll see you soon. Have a great day. Cheers.